So we're good to go, Arthur.
Yep, we're good to go.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Here we are hosted by Natural Warp in his incredible gallery in Somnium space. You know, I took a moment beforehand to venture around this in VR. It's absolutely beautiful. We have stunning artworks. I think probably the first thing, I would love for Natural Warp to say a couple words, and then, let's introduce the artists and start, walking around and touring some of the works.
All right. Yeah. Thanks. Perfect. Yeah. This wouldn't be possible at all with all these great artists. So thanks so much for trusting me, donating your artwork for this group exhibition, and making this happen by joining us in this crypto art talk show. The first. So yeah, thanks for all this, and I'm thrilled to work with you guys. It's an amazing year in the crypto space, and everything's fun, very fluid, very open, lots of crowds. Yeah, I'm grateful, totally grateful that this is all possible to happen. Thanks again.
Wonderful. So, the thing that's always excited me about psychedelic art, right, is everybody in the world is so obsessed with the journey outside of Earth, right? The journey to Mars, this fascination of outer space. The thing that, really attracted me to VR and these type of works and what is happening in Somnium space is really the journey inside. So from there, I think, let's go around and let's introduce, have the artists say a bit about themselves, why they're here, and the works that, they've created for this show. So if it's okay, let's start with you.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Yura, and I'm an artist. I created lots of psychedelic artworks, and I guess 3 of them are here. I don't know what to say about them. It's like psychedelic stream of consciousness, I guess. I don't know what would you like to know about them? I don't know.
How do you create them, Yura?
What? Sorry?
I said how do you create them?
Well, these 3 artworks were created in various mediums, like in VR and like hand painted on paper, and one of them were created using generative like algorithms, like artificial intelligence algorithms. So I usually use a mix of different tools. I like to experiment with like layering upon layering of different techniques. So every artwork is like layers upon layers of different techniques and styles. Yes.
Super. So, Ila, why don't we jump to you next? A little bit about who you are, why you're here, and some of your creations would be awesome.
Yeah, so like Yura and Natural Warp, Silvio, I have a background in visionary arts, so a lot of my client base is the transformational festival culture and trance musicians. So I've been engaged with the blockchain for probably 5 years, and with the advent of super rare, it just seemed natural. So yeah, I mean, to this point, it's been about tokenizing previously created works and rarefying them. And now I'm working with audio visuals, collaborations with musicians, but the future is in experiences, I believe. And I think, Colburn, you and I have talked about that before, creating immersive, awe-inspiring experiences. So yeah, that's about it for now.
Look, I think that's an amazing point, right? Like the whole point of stepping into a place like VR is to reawaken that imagination. I think it's the same experience that you get in these types of festivals. It's a coming back to what could be and a reimagination of what society could be. And I think, I experience that each time I step into Somnium space.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting point for anybody who's not familiar. The parcel of land that you're on is an NFT itself, and so I guess that's where I'm focused now. Is what is the purpose of an NFT? It's totally focused on artwork at this point, but where does it go from here? So I think as this conversation evolves a bit.
Definitely. Silvio, are you here?
No.
Okay, so we're not able to hear Silvio. How about Mark?
Hey.
Hello.
Hello, Mark.
Hello. Hi.
Hey.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Mark.
So, hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark. We can hear you.
All right. So, yeah, my name is Mark, and I'm a 3D artist, and I create surreal abstract renders. They're almost someone kind of described them as mystical threats, so I like that description. So I'm gonna stick with that. I'm here because I haven't really done anything like this. Like, I'm pretty new in the crypto scene. Like, I've been in this scene for almost around 4 months. So it's still pretty new, and what I've been seeing and gathering so far, it's been a pretty exciting journey. And like, you can tell just from this example, from this event, that the future is, like, there's a lot of potential with this kind of thing. So it's very exciting to see what's gonna happen in the next few years. Yeah, is there anything else specific you guys want to know?
I think we can talk, technique and dive a little deeper once we start looking at the individual art pieces.
All right. So my process for my work is essentially, it's very spontaneous kind of journey when I start to create one of these works of mine. Usually, kind of start off with an emotion, like a feeling, like I want to represent on screen. And I just kind of start off with, like, I'm sure you've noticed, like, in my work, there's a lot of, like, cloud-like shapes. And I kind of start off with one of those, and it like every day when I start doing work, it's usually my emotions or, kind of that kind of guides the art. So it's almost like a journey for myself as well whenever I start doing one of those things. And what else? I do them in Cinema 4D and then Octane, and then I'm still kind of deciding. It kind of depends on the project, but usually finish off in either Photoshop or After Effects.
Awesome, thank you. How about Paul as spherical art?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. I took my name, Spherical Art, because of the way I work, my technique, about 5 years ago, and I started posting on Twitter. I'm a commercial artist, and I lost an account, so I had some time on my hands, and I started doing digital art back in 2015. And the technique I was using then, and still am, is I create a three-dimensional sphere, like a polyhedron or a hexagon, and sort of like a geodesic dome, if you will. And I put a camera inside, and I distort the sphere, and I use different types of lenses to find geometric abstractions that are pleasing to me. And sometimes as I'm doing that, I see things that I didn't expect. So a lot of times my art, I start out not knowing what I'm going to find. And I feel like a photographer because I find images that remind me of something else. And then I pursue those later in Photoshop with where I manipulate the render passes that I use in my 3D program. I use Modo and I use Photoshop and After Effects. And lately I've been adding motion because people like animated GIFs and MP4s, and I'm doing more of those. I also, since I'm using, most of my art is found inside objects, so I decided to start trying to find artwork inside three-dimensional heads, since they're spherical as well. And so I have a whole series of pieces that I'm doing now where I'm capturing faces, human faces, but from the inside of a 3D object that's a face. So I spend a lot of time, I bought a parcel in CryptoVoxels, and I'm creating an art exhibit there called Headspace with maybe 20 different heads that I've created with cameras inside the heads. So if you look at my Twitter feed, you'll see links to that space if you'd like to visit.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Is Sammy here?
Here I can see Sammy. If it's the Sammy. Hello.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Log back in.
Yep.
Hello, you have a lot of noise. If you can mute up for a second. I think it's hello. Okay, thank you. Hi, Sammy, we can hear you.
I've been a digital artist now for about 8 years. I'm currently working at a studio in London doing virtual production and volumetric processing, which is all very cutting edge sort of new technology, which is sort of my forte. And with crypto art, it's sort of digital art and technology, which is what I sort of do full time. So I just thought, naturally I was drawn to the area. And yeah, my piece is based on fractals and it's done in Houdini.
Well, super lovely to have you. Thank you so much for sharing. And last, Jopet. Is Jopet here?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm the. So yeah, I'm a traditionally trained painter and with self-taught as a digital artist. So yeah, since Photoshop 7, been exploring it. Then while at it, I'm working as a muralist for establishments and stuff. And I also became a ghost painter for an old painter that can't really paint. So I paint most of his work, and he signed it. And yeah, then uh, just recently, I'm New Year, just 4 months ago, or 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah, and I'm still exploring what this is, this community is, represents, and I'm still learning a lot of things about crypto. But yeah, so I think uh, this is made for me as a digital artist and as a traditional painter. Now I can finally merge them and do something about it instead of being confused if I need to focus on just being a traditional painter where the market is. Now it's amazing that there is a market for digital art, and I can do I can uh, make both of them. my works are mostly uh, traditional with digital art. So yeah, with tangible NFT. So yeah,
Fantastic.
Unity and I think the beauty of this community has always been that it really welcomes people with open arms, just a lot of love and desire to collaborate, experiment, and ask questions, and together we're all rapidly learning about what this can be, and through just a lot of passion, creativity, and desire to bring forward visions, using these new tools of VR, and this new web platform that Somnium put out. We're really kind of together manifesting a future that empowers digital creators. I'd like to, I know I saw the work of Adam. Is Adam here? Was he able to make it?
I don't think I saw him yet.
Okay, and then I don't know if Silvio is back or would have want a chance to speak. Okay, so Natural Warp, why don't you take us around, and maybe we can begin to dig in some of the specific works and have the artists talk about those.
Oh, well, since Silvio isn't here at the time, I could say something about the piece that you see on the right here, next to the whale one. It's called Moon Chaser, and it joined our first, the first event last year in, I think, May 5th. The Take Me to the Moon group exhibition.
All right.
At that time, we didn't have Somnium Web yet, and it was still a bit heavy on the obviously the CPU. So that was a lot of stress for me since my first event and my first public appearance. But yeah, this is one of the wonderful pieces that joined our exhibition and spoke very nice about the Take Me to the Moon, what I wanted to bring as a newbie in the crypto space. And yeah, very much grateful that it's joined
fantastic.
our collection. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll add on top of that, Silvio is, absolute legend. You see his pieces everywhere. They are incredibly stunning, vibrant, and alive. So shame he can't be here, but it's amazing we get to enjoy these pieces.
Yeah, definitely. Very much ethereal power.
Yeah.
One Natural Warp, maybe you can lead us to another section of the gallery. And also perhaps, while we're doing that, I'd love to hear, what your motivation is, because you go into Somnium space and, you can't go too far without seeing, one of your incredible builds, one of your incredible galleries, how much work you've done to uplift creators. What is your motivation for this, and where do you kind of see the future of a world like Somnium space?
Yeah, well, I think Sean, Elo Projects, just introduced that idea by telling us about Psytrance festivals and the atmosphere there when the artists come together, when people have closed-eyed experiences, and all these wonderful inner journeys that people have and come to collectively experience on festivals such as this. And when I first stepped foot in Somnium space, there were not much buildings yet, not much creativity, a lot of billboards, and a lot of empty parcels. And while running around with my headset the first time, I felt like I arrived in like, say, 2 or 3 weeks before the festival starts. because in the past I did lots of decoration for festivals in Belgium and in international Europe as well, and yeah, it really felt like this huge potential area which was ready to build markets and dance floors and open spaces and gatherings and firesides. And I already felt so much excitement seeing this empty space that I immediately got hooked, and I started bidding super small amounts on parcels because I didn't know how the prices were happening. I didn't even have any budget to bid, so dividing my first €100 I put into Ethereum, which at that point was 0.75, I think, in March. Yeah, and I think Arthur, he saw me bidding on these 20, 30, 40 different parcels. Me as a newbie hoping to get something out of it, and then I think a week later or so, he contacted me or we got in touch. I don't know exactly, but he proposed to me it would maybe even be possible to rent a parcel for free and exhibit my art there. And that just kicked things off. I got quite accustomed to the builder because I used to build some game levels in my 20s and my teenage years. So it was quite intuitive builder. And yeah, so I built my first museum. I placed some of the art I put, I think, at that time at Rarible Maker's Place and Unknown Origin. And I sold my first piece to Arthur. I think it was minted at Mintbase. One of my, also a bit like spherical art, my 360 art was involved.
Yes.
And I used a lens inside the sphere, some warped vision, and Arthur was in love with that, I guess, and he bought it.
Still is.
And yeah, thanks. And at that time, I saw things could start to move for me because at that time I was very, very, very broke. That €100 was almost my last energy from my finance, and yeah, things got moving, and I sold a couple things for small amounts, and I started renting my first my second parcel and my third, and then I opened the group exhibition, started to contact lots of artists because I was amazed in the crypto space what could be possible in the near future. And yeah, I started to build, invite some artists, make the first event, and I think in May, 5th May, I think, the first event, very stressful for me because I wasn't used to public speaking, and the software was still a bit glitchy when 30 people arrived, and my GPU was overheating, and I barely made it, I think, to the event itself. But yeah, it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome.
You took an extraordinary risk, Warp. I mean, I thought it was amazing. And, you know, just for everybody here, I'd like to point out that you live this life. You know, you're a genuine crypto artist. All of the parcels that you've taken over and built up, and I mean, you've got your own coin and your own complete psychedelic style, and it's really fascinating. You know, you're a super inspiration for sure.
I must agree, and I just want to add to the story of Natural. When I saw Natural bidding, of course, on parcels, and I saw you on our Discord, I was like, okay, what's going on there? I mean, definitely you're not getting any parcel for that price. So I contacted you, and then we started to talk, and I saw your art, and of course, sometime before that, we introduced an ability to show the 360-degree spheres, like, you know, spherical art inside Somnium. And when I saw your art, a true 360 art like this inside VR, I immediately got in love with this art. And you know, I've rented you one of my medium parcels next to my gallery, and and the rest is history. And I mean, the journey is still continuing and evolving. You know, how you do avatars, and I own one of your first, actually the first 360 avatar, which I love. Yeah, it's just amazing journey and amazing festival. And as Elo correctly said, you are a true crypto artist. You live this life and you are passionate about it, and that's amazing.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for having me.
I think again, just like speaks to the power of the community and the willingness of people to share, collaborate. And, you know, in these worlds, I think you do get recognized for the value that you create. So, you know, just so much thanks and praise to all that you've done, Natural Warp.
Totally my pleasure.
Absolutely. Hey, Silvio's here.
Hey, Silvio.
Awesome.
Hi.
Are you able to speak, Silvio?
Hello, Silvio.
Should we move on, Natural Warp, to perhaps this next piece over here, this big video?
Yeah, that's Alien Honey video piece of her. I'd also joined the first Take Me to the Moon group exhibition. And yeah, I placed it in this new one because I totally love it.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
I was also very happy that she joined. It meant a lot to me.
it's an awesome piece. I would encourage everyone to check it out in VR.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, and by the way, if you guys click on it, just for those who don't know, if you click on it, it will play the video and the animation. And yes, of course, seeing it in VR is next level stuff.
So since Alien Honey's not here, she's super OG. We used to have conversations on Steam at 2016, 2017. She worked closely with Stella Bell to develop the Slothicorn community there. And yeah, we were brainstorming how everything would play out nowadays. And it was impossible, the limits of our technical abilities and the vision, but you know, Super Rare and OpenSea and all these guys put it together, and then you know, people like you, Colborn, it just you've given this whole thing wings. You know, it's pretty amazing to watch it all play out now.
It's both incredible and frightening at the same time. But Alien Honey is Julia, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me just say, you know, Julia was one of the first Super Rare artists. When I joined that platform, fell in love with her work. You know, she was the second solo show that we did at the museum. And just a pleasure to work with. She was so easygoing, you know, just said, go build, like, let's experiment and create this. And, you know, kind of in the south east, there's a beautiful show of her work in a kind of just enchanted type of forest. So go check that out if you're a fan of hers.
For people that don't know, you need to have the Somnium client, correct, Arthur? To be able to explore the world.
You can you can explore this part with any VR headset, basically, even on the mobile phone or Oculus browser. But if you want to have a full native VR experience in the persistent world, then yes, you have to download our client and then basically connect your VR headset to your computer and then go inside and find this parcel and enjoy the art.
Super. Should we head maybe to this side of the gallery, the other side?
Yep.
And take a look. Let's see who this piece is by.
Mark.
This is, yeah, reassembly required. Mark, if you'd be so kind to tell us about this piece.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mark.
This piece, Yeah, I remember this particular day when I made this piece because I was having difficulty in coming up with something to, kind of design on that day. And I think ever since I started doing my dailies regularly last year, like there's a influx of like attention that came in that I wasn't like, it was pretty, it's pretty good because it validated you as an artist. But at the same time, like there was a lot of pressure that's being put on yourself, to kind of produce something that's consistently good. And on that particular day, like I always have that anxiety of not being able to do something that I like at the end of the day. And this was one of those days I remember. And I just kind of forced myself to kind of have a kind of a mental restart of what, like the motivations that I have in kind of doing art in the first place. And, it kind of helped me got through the day by kind of creating something that symbolized the actual, kind of emotions I was going through. So that's pretty much the story of this piece. As far as the composition and the colors and stuff like that, like I really like to put like a lot of contrast in my work. Like there's a lot of, like atmospherically it looks kind of sad and dark, but at the same time there's a lot of bright colors and there's a lot of lights that's kind of swirling around. So I like to kind of implement stuff like that in my work. And also like I just want to talk really quickly about the clouds in my work. Like the reason why I put clouds in my work is I'm really obsessed with like like the subconscious and human psychology. So I'm kind of like I always felt like clouds were always in a state of movement. Like you never see any, like unless it's specifically meant to stay still, like one of those like fake clouds in museums or something like that. But usually smoke and clouds are always kind of moving. So I kind of wanted to create like something that's almost like fleeting, like almost a temporary kind of thing. So yeah, that's pretty much kind of the story behind this thing.
And I love the way the clouds are contrasted by these very sharp and strong neon geometric shapes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
agree.
really a spectacular piece.
Thank you so much.
Mark, you've been absolutely killing it since you've come into the space, especially lately. And when you see Ether skyrocketing as it is, and you're selling pieces day in and day out, man, I mean, it's extremely impressive. And also, like stylistically, how you're pushing the boundaries each time now. Your work is so recognizable immediately, and I think that people just gravitate towards that naturally.
Yeah, it's been a very, very like cool ride, to be honest. Like Instagram just kind of kept on messaging me and saying that you should join, these NFT marketplaces like for months. And it just kind of felt too good to be true at that time. So I wasn't really paying much attention to it until I did. And I'm so glad that I did. Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty good ride so far. And as far as like the style is concerned, like people, like I always get that, like what you said about the style being recognizable and stuff like that. And I still kind of like, I kind of got that at the end of my, like I kind of saw what people were talking about. But at the beginning, it was just a lot of experimentation, really, like it's just a lot of like, let's see what I can do with this or let's see what I can do with that. I love trying to kind of push like my style to like places where it's unexpected almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you have a language though,
Yeah.
It's something that after doing this for a couple decades is probably one of the most challenging aspects of art in general, is developing your voice, and your voice comes through ultra clear every single time, man. Like I know it's your work even while you're pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, because also like when I make my works before, I used to have a hard time trying to figure out like what to do. Like I know what to do as far as like colors and what colors go in which emotion or which kind of style, but I always kind of struggled in like what to create, like what's the subject matter. And I think it all kind of changed when I started just trying to tell my own story, you know, like what I've been through, what, you know, my, like some of my memories are, some of my dreams are. And when it's kind of figure out like that's what I really want to talk about, like that's what I kind of want to show in my work, like everything just kind of fell into place.
Awesome.
I love that. Yeah. Should we, move over here and take a look at these next two pieces? One,
Yep,
Biker's Journey, and this one, Antithesis and Adversity. Natural Warp, do you know who these are by?
Yes, by Joe Pett.
By Joe Pett, yeah.
I hope he can talk because he could talk earlier.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Apparently not. He could talk earlier. I can tell you, I contacted him about this the right one with the flowers. I saw it on Rarible, and I immediately contacted him to ask if he would join the group exhibition, and he was positive about it. And I think one day later I saw this biker appear, and it was a little bit low priced, and I think a 10 edition or something. So I immediately bought it and added it to the. If you see his work, many of it is like, it's kind of very emotional, and like I especially love the radiance of the soul of this guy on his bike. The immense power of the being inside that human, and I really love that energy, and you see it in many of his pieces. And when he told us earlier that he's ghost painting for another artist and doing a lot of manual, you see a lot of power in that, I think.
Something I always come back to is the ability of a platform like Somnium Space to invite so much geographical diversity for people to really congregate in these, online, I guess, global communities. And I think he did mention that he was from the Philippines, and it's just, so wonderful to see, because I don't really think much has been done like this before, and I think just that ability to invite so many different people from all over the world to come together on a living, breathing web page like this there's just so much potential.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Somnium Web changes the game, Arthur.
Thank you.
Totally.
Yeah, we are. You hear me still?
Yep.
Yeah, we've been working hard on it, and it's I'm loving it. I mean, I'm loving it for the simplicity and instant instant shareability of the content. I'm a VR maximalist, let's call it like this, and I love being in Somnium in a persistent world and explore all the deep corners of the galleries and art in full resolution and stuff. But this event, look how many, we support up to 100 people in one instance, and that's amazing that we all can come together, and some of you are in VR and in an Oculus browser on the Quest. It's just amazing. Thank you for coming, everyone. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for being here, guys.
Should we take a moment to speak on Cyborg T97 here?
We can. It's I think black. Oh, Joe Pett. These AI manipulated or by hand with a lot of filters, but I definitely love this one, the Cyborg. And I saw a couple other office work, but this one I immediately bought and placed it in the group exhibition, but I haven't been able to contact him yet. So I actually need to get on that again so he knows he's in. Because most of the artists I contacted directly and asked if they want to join. But this piece, I just bought it and placed it in.
It's awesome.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And, I know there's art on the outside walls. And I don't think we'll be able to. Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to go upstairs today, but I would encourage, people to, go check out the other.
Yeah. Just when you plug an NFT in, I notice it because I obsess over my details. So this isn't a fantastic representation of the work, but you get the idea. Anyway, the focus of my art particularly is to capture those strange moments, those encounters with entities or the divine, how those relate. I guess I'm kind of like a dealer of my own nostalgia. I'm constantly digging at pieces to find the story and to kind of trigger deja vu as I'm working. So essentially the end of a piece of mine is it's the result of seeking emotion that takes me back to a place where, I experience the mystic or the magical or the miraculous. So the piece on the left is called Punku, and that's a Bolivian word for which is the kind of covering entity or totem of the San Pedro and peyote cactuses. And the piece on the right is actually a representation of my friend Brian Paulette. It's kind of like a self-portrait of him. He was a great inspiration for me when I started creating digital artwork. So I just reproduced what I figured he looked like in hyperspace. But yeah, static images are one thing, and it's been really amazing to have the opportunity to sell crypto art and develop communities. But I think an important point here, if you're an artist listening or new to the space, actually most people are investing in things in artist potential, like what they're going to represent in the future. So 2D art will end up being more like a stock in an artist's brand or something. So as we move towards what NFTs are capable of, I think that the artists that are going to be most important in the future are those who are really focused on metaverses and creating digital assets. And then beyond that, like assets with attributes. The NFT is an irreproducible minted object, and I don't think we've really discovered what that really means yet. Pointing out like this parcel of land is an NFT itself, and then there are all these other NFTs embedded in that space. So like, what do we do with that? Going forward, there's a ton of hype and a ton of interest, and so many artists looking to be released from the bondage of their career choices, and that's happening at an incredible pace right now. But in a year, it's going to look very different, and Somnium Space, these other places are providing kind of the substrate out of which massive ideas are going to grow. So yeah, I would encourage people to look towards like avatar building. We're going to be playing with our identity in the metaverse. We want to become superheroes for a minute, and then beyond that, like the builders of experience and the economy drivers. We're going to want things that kind of make us tick in the real world right now, but in the future, art will be more of like a symbol of what the individual artist is capable of. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting point. So yeah, that's my work. You can
definitely is, yeah, and the work is beautiful, by the way. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah,
and yes, we have to compress it, of course, a little bit because otherwise people would never.
I totally get it. I mean, these are older pieces, you know, so being totally aware of that now and how things are represented, you know, in Somnium specifically, like I'm having to just simplify, which is actually opening up a lot of space for exploring larger ideas, I think, too. So yeah. Interesting stuff ahead. Very, very fascinating world that's in front of us. Arthur, you're like a wizard, man.
Thanks. I can chime in on what you've said actually, and I agree with what you've said. I mean, the future of, in my opinion, you know, like I treat Somnium Web as my 3D homepage. You know, I'm representing what I've built, and I put some links and NFTs and stuff, and people can explore, you know, things I own and I want to share, but not in a 2D environment on a web page, but you know, it's designed specifically in a 3D environment. And again, VR and identity and being a superhero is it's exactly that. I mean, it's hard to explain when once you try something in VR and once you wear an NFT avatar and you know you own it, and you know that it's, you know, I treat NFT avatars as art. It is an art. It's just more complex and much personal art, because when I wear an avatar, I feel it. It's hard to explain, but it is like this. And I either feel well in the avatar or I don't. And obviously those which I don't feel well in, I don't buy, but it is, you get used to it and people get used to see you as an avatar, and then you become a part of, or an avatar becomes a part of your identity. It's definitely like that. And yeah, I think many people misunderstand NFTs at some level, but just for, you know, for a platform like Somnium, giving an ability for people to truly own stuff and also freely trade it and exchange it and, you know, be masters of their own possessions, that's a very powerful thing for a platform and for economy. And, you know, platform without an economy, it's a dead place. So that's just fantastic. And blockchain right now, as I always say, blockchain is the best technology to provide those use cases. Absolutely, there's nothing better on the planet.
You know, so you and your dev team are engaged in a massive scale project that I think will kind of become more standard within the next maybe year, maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's 5 years, but I can see collaborations between designers and devs to create objects that have attributes. You know, they give you a 5-point hit point bonus or something, or
oh, you should come to play our Annihilator VR shooter on the Somnium Plaza. It's definitely like this, absolutely. And you know, Somnium worlds and all those kind of stuff like NFT items, wearables, and special attributes and shields and all these games. Oh my God, it's hard to even imagine what we'll see in like just half a year even. It's absolutely crazy.
Or 2 weeks.
Oh, exactly, or 2 weeks.
Every time, another week. Oh my God, they did it again. What again? A release with amazing add-ons.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll thank Elo for one, these beautiful, beautiful works, right? Your obsession with detail,
yes.
You know, they consistently shine and, you know, show us a beautiful future of where we're going and where we want to be. And just also, I think, you know, your voice in this is critically important in bringing us back to that foundation and that grounding.
Doug, Colborne, did we lose you?
Yeah, I just had a problem. I lost my audio, so maybe it's.
I can hear you, Elo.
I can hear everybody well.
Just not Colborne.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe Colborne, if you hear us, try to restart the audio.
Yeah, I just stepped out and then came back in, and it was fine.
Yeah, this instance, just like a little bit of technical thing. This instance is capable of hosting around 100 people right now. I mean, it's capable of hosting more, but we cut it at 100, and then right about 20 video heads like you have, Elo, which is super cool. I love it. We are just trying. We can spawn as many instances as we want. So it's not limited to 100. Many more people can join. But yeah, we were at 55 people actually at some point of time. By the way, which is amazing.
Artur, what's the future? Can you give us a taste of what's on your plate?
Oh right, of course. So the big part we're working right now are Somnium worlds, and we try to go a very different route of how we will actually implement that in terms of a very different route from anything anybody have seen. We've gathered a lot of feedback from a lot of people, be it artists or be it VR players from VR Chat and others, and we want to give people ultimate creative freedom. Like you would be able to create through Unity SDK almost anything you like. Like it could be a AAA game or it could be a crazy VR experience. You would have almost no limits except the megabytes limits. Other than that, you will be able to do whatever you want. So that's one big part. Other than that, it's we just released, and we will announce it more in detail, a 360 true NFT support. We are going to release teleportation hubs in 2 weeks. We're working on the gestures and custom animations for VR avatars. They will be coming soon too, within the next 2 weeks. Waterfront parcels, many more updates for Somnium Web in terms of discoverability of the content, visual discoverability of the content on Somnium Web, so people will be even more engaged with content once they get here, and many more things. I mean, there's just a never-ending list of things we're working on.
Are you ready to? Are you ready for what's coming? I mean, do you feel positioned and prepared to compete with all of the other worlds that are going to pop up soon?
I don't think we're actually competitors. At some point we are, but we are so much focused on VR, and we are VR world first. We're native VR. If you really want to understand Somnium, you have to try and go into the persistent VR world where actually all those parcels are together and neighbored and the world is alive. In terms of are we ready? Yes, we are scaling our backend. We are growing the team. 2020 was extremely successful year for us, and we're accelerating the speed of development. We try to do many things in the background to be sure that everything is running smooth. And yeah, I mean, of course, we are very confident that we are providing a let's say very good technological solution for the needs of people and for the dreamers, right? I mean, Somnium Web is one example, but there will be much more things coming in 2021. So I'm very excited about this year, very much.
Awesome. Guys here have.
Yeah, feel free to ask questions, everyone. Let's wait until people figure out the microphone stuff. If you want to talk, there is a microphone button on the top right. You should allow your browser to talk to. And if your microphone is not picked up correctly, go to the settings button and then change microphone and then choose your right microphone, the correct one, and then you should be able to talk. Speak now or be quiet forever.
Silvio, if you can.
Hey, Djembe.
Hey, Djembe. Oh, Djembe's in VR actually. He's in WebXR. You can see it on his
on
the icon. Yes. He's hi, Djembe. He's looking at us in VR actually.
No microphone, huh?
He should have one, but it's interesting.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
41, yeah.
Oh, I have a question about, will you participate in the Beeple event?
In the
Because
Beeple event?
To whom is the question?
I've seen that maybe it would be exhibited in Somnium.
Oh, we had people several times in Somnium, and one of the events, which was the last time, was before his drop on Nifty Gateway. We had a kind of a panel discussion with him on stage in VR. Actually, you can find this on YouTube if you put Somnium and Beeple, and you will see the video where he talks about his drop, about his journey, artistic journey. Mike is a great guy, and I love his art as well. So I'm not sure if it will be exhibited in Somnium. I'm pretty sure I can talk to him, and we might do something cool, actually.
I thought I've seen something about the Metaverse.
Oh yeah, Metaverse has a
event
build.
for the Christie's auction.
So the Metaverse has the build, B20 build in Somnium as well, where you can go and check all the tokens of people there, of everydays.
Yeah.
And in terms of so you can go. This build is on the island, pretty epic build. So go check it out in VR, definitely. I can actually tell you the parts later on.
Yeah, because it's being mentioned a lot currently.
So, Colburn, who was hosting this event, he owns Mocha.
Yep.
To the north, and they have the largest exhibition of Pack and Beeple in one place. So definitely want to explore the world.
Yeah, we can have. By the way, we're working on a feature where you'll be able to put the portal to another parcel on Somnium Web, and just go directly there. Djembe, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, Djembe.
The VR man
Hello, everyone.
has spoken.
How y'all doing?
So are you how it looks in VR, this crowd?
Oh, looks fantastic.
Cool.
Really cool.
Djembe, I wanted to ask you, you do concerts inside of Somnium, and I'm curious if there's the opportunity to build like abstract instruments that you could actually use while you're performing. Is that something in the future, either for you or Artur?
I mean,
yeah,
go ahead, Jimmy.
Go ahead. Oh, and eventually when the ability to upload those things comes into play, then that's one of the features I want to be involved in. And but right now, I just designed an avatar for a guy that has some keyboards that are attached to the avatar, so that I can upload it now, because he's a keyboard artist, and awesome. He's going to do a show at my event. So I just finished that today, so it's going to look really cool. But eventually, we'll be able to upload those as purchasable content, actually, for people to use. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So the best way right now is to make it a part of the avatar and then upload it. And because you can now dynamically switch avatars from within VR, you can switch them as you go. And of course, for 2021, the plan is to introduce NFT wearables in completion to the NFT avatars, which we already have. And then you people will be able to quickly exchange and even give to each other NFTs in VR. So you basically give someone the wearable, and he will take it from you, and that's how the token will change the owner. So we're working on that as well.
That's cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I explained this to my dad today because he wanted to get into crypto, and he's like an he was trading regular stock market, and he wants to get into the crypto space, and that was one of the last things I tried to blow his mind with after I explained all the wallet stuff. And I said, in VR, I'm gonna give you my phone, and you'll take it out of my hand, and I probably have to click one small confirm button, and it's yours in your wallet. And he was like, totally blow his mind.
Yeah,
way into
that's exactly how we will make it.
70 years old, and he was, that's not gonna be the end of the story, boy.
No.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's awesome. Did we lose? Oh, Colburn, you're back, right? We don't hear you though.
You can't hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear now.
Yes.
We can hear you. All good. You're back. Perfect.
Colburn, I was telling the group, I don't know if you're here, that you have the largest display of PAX work and Beeple's work in the same location. Could you let people know the parcel number so they could check that out?
Ooh, yeah,
wait,
I can do that real quick.
Let me check as well. We can actually hop into that parcel after we finish here. Because why not?
Yeah, I think the side, we've been going through some changes there, and there'll be a new curation of the museums. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Elo, can I ask a question? First of all, great job on this, and thanks for letting me know about this. I'm curious to the panel, how do you see, for musicians, for artists along that sphere, how they're going to be entering into this, and where do you see that going in the next 5 years?
I mean, maybe that's a good question for Djembe.
Yeah, Djembe, yeah.
Well, we're kind of already doing it. We have shows every week on Wednesday, but tomorrow Archer has a special event, and I'll be singing at that as well. So if you guys come in tomorrow,
a little bit plug. Tomorrow is a Trevor Jones gala art evening, and Djembe as a special guest star will be singing before the event starts, and then we will have some talks and interviews with Trevor. And then we'll have another song from Djembe live. And I have to say, Djembe is singing live in the VR headset, in VR. So it's a full immersion. He's basically moving with his hands and body as he would be singing while he, in real life. And and we'll have an amazing evening tomorrow. So if you, same time as this event today, tomorrow, but it's mainly the native VR event, so you have to take the VR headset. It will be kind of like copied into the Somnium web parcel, but if you want to have a full immersion, come to the VR event.
Bunch of crazy avatars.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So, for people who are familiar with Trevor, he comes from the traditional art world, and he's an incredible painter. He set a number of records before this massive explosion over the last week or so. Trevor was, up at the very tippy top of everything. That will be pretty neat.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes down. I think the original Bitcoin Angel, which was an animation on Super Rare, I think at the time it sold for just a price that nobody had ever seen before. I think that was something like 80 Ethereum. And then, of course, the Picasso's Bull, and we got the Satoshi Architect piece, and his narrative all along has always been that he's wanted the NFT digital counterparts of his paintings to be more valuable than the physical. And I think, he was always an advocate of pushing that story, and is a large reason why he's so revered in this community.
Yeah, some fantastic pieces there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll add, though, to that question, other opportunities for musicians in the NFT space. We see a lot of audio-visual collaborations. I'd say some of the original people making these, people like DJ Skrilla, who's been around since the Rare Pepe days. RAC, Grammy Award-winning musician, did some incredible collaborations with Andres Rasinger. Deadmau5 had that piece. So, and then just recently, Chief Keef released a piece. So, there is for these types of works. I know Async is also working on something very, very interesting for musicians. And I believe Audius Project allows for the minting of just, music files.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
By the way, Sun Tzu, are you able to speak? Sun Tzu was my partner when we did the Take Me to Your Burn festival. So in fact, we had a large setup for tons of musicians, lots of live
Massive
DJ
stuff.
sets were happening. Much crazy time.
That's
Heard myself
but
out.
yeah, a lot of props to you guys for the Take Me to a Burn. And then it was I just want to say it was an amazing driver because I just we didn't plan to do any kind of big event as Somnium, and then I saw Natural and Sansu organizing that amazing festival, and I was so hyped. I was like, wow, there's so many artists and you're so many stages. I said, you know what? We'll put a lot of effort into it, and we'll do kind of like, apart from the parcels you were building on for stages, we did this central event with a concert, and we just pushed it to the limit. And I think
that blew our mind.
Yeah, it blew my mind as well. I mean, I think we've really pushed a boundary of what people think it's possible, and I think that's whole Somnium. That's what Somnium is about. Always trying to push the boundaries and see and show to people, hey, that's the future.
That's what got me involved. Was the Burning Man event.
Right.
That's when I joined.
It was pretty amazing. You guys had a full man built in the center. I mean, yeah, you created a vibe there. It was beautiful. I think that's really cool when you guys have something significant going on. How you customize that town square area. Really neat.
Yeah, and we it was such a short time frame. Like the whole team just worked 24/7 to make it happen. But in the end of the day, it worked, and it worked really well. And it was just an amazing concert. We have a recording of it available on our YouTube channel. I encourage you to go and have a look because it was really cool.
And that's the kind of stuff I would love to do as a musician is to incorporate that visual aspect.
Right.
The amazing effects and all of that. Plus also artists. I have an artist who often displays his work on my venue parcels. When people come to the shows, they can see the artwork.
Oh, Victor,
and,
right?
Yeah, Victor Savior, he's here.
I think he's here.
He's over there, yep.
Oh, he's over there. Hi,
he's
Victor.
here.
Now, pretty soon we'll be having VJs on top of musical appearances, I think. Right? Live VJ.
Yeah, and also...
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that
I guess one more question
things...
I have for you, because obviously NFTs are exploding, especially in the past couple of months. How do you guys see creators, I guess, creating or maintaining value? Because I've heard, you hear on both sides that, their NFTs are overrated, or it's going to go down, or I see this being a space that just continues to grow. But how should people look at creating NFTs and making them valuable and continuing to push forward with it? Does that make sense?
It does, and I think if I can answer this question because I have some thoughts on that. I mean, I think some NFTs will go down, and there will be cycles. Like nothing is moving only upwards or downwards. It's always in cycles. And I always say I'm a use case guy, and I always say, look, if your NFT provide use case, and those use cases could be different. Either it could be aesthetical.
You're looking at the revolutionization of everything from real estate to Uber rides,
Everything.
And then with Web3 and digital assets, like if you're investing in an artist, you should be following them on Twitter, which is like, that's the spot, ground zero. But their ideas, you have a lot of people who are hyping their sales and, I did this and I'm doing this and that's all good. But you really want to pay attention to what the artist is thinking about now. And are they thinking for making a sale today, tomorrow, or are they talking about building things that are actually going to have applicability to where the larger movement is going in a year from now, in 2 years? Like Archer said, it's all about use case. What kind of value are people going to bring to this thing, and how are we going to push the capacity of NFTs? What are they going to look like? What are they going to represent? And so artists need to be thinking about that, and investors too, collectors.
Amen. I agree 100%.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really good point, right? This is, we're in something that is heating up very, very quickly, and a lot of, money is getting thrown around and people are entering very fast. Art always proves itself in the long term, right? And artists always define themselves over a career. The investments you make today, and I think, Elo, you spoke about this, is almost like capital stock in a creator. Where do you think this person is going to be in 5, 10, 20 years? And how is their practice going to evolve at this intersection of art and technology? And are they, such a creative thinker that they will continue to lead and push these completely new boundaries that we're all kind of, feeling our way through in the dark together?
A good indicator of somebody that you want to pay attention to is somebody who creates beautiful things, but also, when all of the movement is going in one direction, the person who isn't trying to run there the fastest, but is still provoking thought, stability, like being present, not reacting on emotion or lust or greed or any of those things. The stable thinkers, those who are constantly proposing ideas, no matter where the energy is, that's a good indicator of somebody who's going to be around.
I can definitely agree, and making some, not jumping in the right and left corners, but sticking to the vision. And this vision could be different for an artist or for like a company like Somnium, for example. Sticking to the long-term vision sometimes, or I would say differently, majority of times, it's actually really hard, because people were calling me crazy in 2016 and they still call me crazy in 2021. You can bet on it. Just a little bit less crazy, but they still call me crazy. So
you are crazy, man.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So I take it as a compliment. So it is hard, and if you believe in something, and if you're an artist, and if you believe in something, or you're a creator or whatever, you will, and you believe and you do it, you will succeed. If you not try to catch every trend out there, I think it will be all good. But again, it comes back to the value, right? Because if you spot people like this, or companies like this, or projects like this, then you're onto something, and that's fantastic. I hope NFT market will have more of those true, real projects who are trying to achieve something amazing, because blockchain and NFTs in general, this space will revolutionize internet as we know it, 100%. When it will happen, maybe in 3 years, 5 years, within the next 10 years, but it will happen.
Yeah, value in investors, collectors, and artists. Like, don't think for today. Don't think about what you're creating on your tablet or with your pencil. Like, that's all good. You could be in that moment, but projecting out into the future and anticipating. So by the time you're actually able to make an idea come to fruition, it has to be 10 times as robust. I mean, things are moving at lightning speed, So just projecting into the future, anticipating, and the way that you do that is by listening to more influential, more intelligent, more cutting edge thinkers than yourself, and just diving into as much of it as you can. It's decentralized, so there's not really any specific angle that is going to work better than the other ones, but paying attention and knowing your stuff. And it's like coming in to the space new, it seems like you're never going to catch up. How are you going to possibly do this? And then you get to a point to where things make sense, that they all kind of bleed together, and you're like, wow, actually I could do just about anything. Doesn't mean it's going to succeed, but the infinite application for NFTs in the future is formidable and fascinating, and it like you just need to know what you're doing. You've got to get your bearings, and you have to understand why the blockchain is so important, and then begin thinking about where this is all going.
Absolutely.
It's just a lot of paddling in the beginning, trying to catch the wave of innovation, but then when you're standing on your plank, just throw your stuff out there.
Yeah, and if any investors are listening in general, I would say kind of like my message, it would be also like it is better to not hurry up and then support the right people, because by supporting kind of like not the right people, you're kind of moving the whole market into a little bit different direction. Like, just I think anti-FOMO mode is the best one to have. It's just but yeah, awesome discussion.
Also, just a point about Clubhouse, like there's a ton of amazing information there, but the conversations end up recursive and self-referential, and you have a lot of people who are very, very new to the space kind of defining what is important to everybody. So coming to these types of things and hearing, in person what these wizards are actually doing it's profound. Keep up on that. I mean, it takes a couple more clicks than just opening up your app or whatever, but participate.
Yeah,
soon
I
as
think
Android comes.
Yeah, I think it's a super good point. There's a lot of charlatans on Clubhouse. Suddenly you buy, a couple of NFTs and you're a leading curator in the NFT space, right?
Yes.
It's there's a lot of misinformation being thrown around. People are really trying to make a quick buck. The most thing you can do is just be genuine, authentic, connect with your community, find your fit, start connecting with collectors, sharing your work. I'd say, the space has been just always very open and welcoming, and it's just a breath of fresh air when we start to consider what traditional art markets look like. But do your own research, find your own voices in this. Never, ever in crypto, in anything, listen to what somebody is saying, because you're going to get burnt. So, yeah. And of course, buy what you love. Don't buy anything to flip it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Buy what you love, and then get on board with that artist and help them tell their story and tell people why you love the piece.
And again, for people who aren't familiar, like Colburn and Arthur and the artists that are here have been around long enough to see the peaks, to see the valleys, to understand the patterns and how things play out. Like, I mean, this is like the real information here. Colburn has done incredible things for crypto art and what the NFT space is right now. Like the dude should be in every single Clubhouse NFT room, like always. His impact has been so profound that it can't be overstated. So, I mean, you're getting like the absolute real deal.
Man, that's very kind.
100% agree.
I'll say, just in the beginning, when everybody was just creating for fun and nobody was getting any bids and things were trading, for, I think my average purchase price for the longest time was like $100. it was really just like about telling people that, like, you know, I see your work, your work is important, like what you're doing is valuable. And it was almost like a signal that, like, let's build a relationship to explore these spaces, like let's create this place and start hanging these on walls and proving use cases and showing, you know, the value and the utility. And it's hard to believe that just a year ago, like this concept was very novel. And you know, we've seen tremendous explosive growth. It's reflected in like the landscape of Somnium space, quite literally. I remember, like, as Natural Warp said, entering a world that, you know, was pretty open and it was dotted with buildings, and now it's just incredibly robust. So, you know, this was, built by a lot of just passionate creators who believed in the mission of the technology and were willing to share and bring their artwork forward. And that in itself is kind of the spirit and the core. And, you know, we know what money does to systems, and we're going to see this thing ramp up and bottom out. But at the end of the day, the attention is good. And I think it's telling more people to go out there and share and be creators, and let's, you know, manifest this digital metaverse future together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amen.
Amen. As until the full vision, which will never be full, is implemented. And yeah, it's by the way, off topic about the Clubhouse. I'm really looking forward to. By the way, I think this is better than Clubhouse. Like, it's a 3D Clubhouse, but I'm looking forward to Twitter Spaces, because Twitter has a very strong networking effect, and once that is live, and I think it will be live very soon, that will be a fantastic product to use. So I'm looking forward to that.
So, can we talk about the metaverse itself?
Yep.
And how important it's going to be. I mean, just even an idea as simple as, like, you know, long-term space journey, Mars or wherever. The metaverse is going to be the recreation, right? As well as business and you know, maintenance on the ship and everything. I mean, these are going to be the places that the crew is coming, you know, on their way across the solar system. Just,
I hope so.
Yeah.
The internet problem is solved by Starlink, so almost.
Yeah.
So not now they're getting a real chance. But look, and I know I'm repeating myself, and maybe some people are getting tired of it, but like, VR has much higher emotional impact on people that people actually realize. Because of how our brain is wired, our brain is evolutionary wired in a way to think and imagine spatially, not in a 2D mode. So we are spatial 3D, you know, people, and we think like this. So literally, when you're in VR and when you spend time in there, your brain is getting, in a good way, rewired. You remember places based on their locations. You remember people based on their gestures and on their behavior. You remember stuff. You know that, okay, oh, there's the moonshine, and the moon was shining on my art piece, and I remember that art piece, and that's why I put it there on that wall. That's how you start to think, and it definitely is a very deep experience. Definitely, for me at least, for sure.
I'll echo that.
Yeah. Huge difference. I'm getting a little bit like this is like a detached version of VR in this. Looking at my desktop, seeing all these avatars, looking at their watches. I'm feeling how you say, going into schizophrenic mode, trying to be me. Natural Warp, that's one of these same avatars, and when I'm at one of these djembe shows and starting to close my eyes while listening to the music and dancing, and then opening my eyes again and seeing these people next to me move on the same music and the atmosphere, that's such a big difference in experience than this 2D web browser. Although it's very, very great and fluid, but Yeah, it's
Of course.
completely different.
Somnium is VR first. It
Yeah.
will stay like this, obviously.
Yeah, Elo, something you touched on earlier that I think is essential here and kind of foundational is the concept of identity in a metaverse space, right? And how suddenly people are able to come in and define themselves more by, what they create, and that might be represented as an NFT or, an avatar that they create. But it really begins to remove bias around who that person is or any presupposition of who they might be, and really allows for a more authentic, I guess, presentation of who you are. And Arthur, this also is kind of a concept for you, but I think in that, people are more inclined to be more open and look to participate kind of harmoniously in a community.
I agree, and actually, an exclusive plug here. I've the identity part of the equation for people in general and for general public is important, and I think NFTs will revolutionize identity, how we perceive it, and on top of that, as Somnium from the very beginning, I knew we have to solve a VR equation, but we also have to solve and help to push the identity equation. So we're actually working on a identity, tokenized identity-based project, and I will be revealing more information about that soon, which will then help Somnium to solve that that kind of like the last piece of puzzle. So definitely identity is a big topic, and it will be brought more and more into the real life soon.
Is Todd still here? Anyway, yeah.
I got booted out and then got back in.
Right, we can hear it.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
sorry, what were you going to ask me?
Well, you're doing something really neat. I've got an echo. I don't know if you can handle that.
From one. Oh, from you.
Do I need to mute?
Yeah. So just keep your mouse over that microphone, I guess. So what you're doing is really cool. You've got your band, and you're at the cutting edge of where all of this stuff is going. And you're creating. I'm working with you to create these Canvas 8-second loops for your music on the different platforms that you're on. So you're here in Somnium space, considering how you can develop a presence in a metaverse and have concerts, and then you've got your coin, right? The 3CR8 coin. And so you've created this feedback loop between what you do in the actual world. You're building your presence in the metaverse. You have a currency that represents the things that you do, and then you have NFTs to offer as collectibles, which are like stock in who you are and what you represent. So I was wondering if maybe you'd be interested in talking a little bit more to that, because it's kind of like a first in that way, seeing somebody link up all of the elements and think creatively like this. How can you create a holistic picture, to represent you?